Yeah. Is it going to be like that?
So most of the stuff, so there are dependencies.
So we're here at Build 2016. I'm Rachel Appel, and this is Cam Soper. And we're here on Frank's World TV to tell you some of the fun and cool activities that are going on this week. So what are you doing, Cam?
So I've been helping out with the coding challenges, Rachel. The coding challenges are fun little walkthroughs that you can do to learn about different technologies in the .NET and Azure space, and we keep score. So there's a leaderboard. I can't remember who's leading the leaderboard right now, but he's been very productive.
Nice, nice. So we have a lot of activity over there, and people saying challenge accepted. Right?
Exactly.
Coming into the coding challenges. There's also an Xbox coding challenge too, but this is just the Office stuff, was it?
It was web, .NET, Azure. I think they did have some Office add-ins. I was kind of an Azure subject matter expert.
Cool. So I'm working on running some labs upstairs.
Tell me about your labs.
Yeah. So all ASP.NET Core and Azure deployment, and there's some great instructor-led training here. Like, I may be biased being one of the instructors, but come in and we go through some walkthroughs on ASP.NET, and you get to learn some things while you sit in a session and actually try it out too. So you're not just sitting and just passively listening, you get to do stuff. And on a machine that's not yours, so you get to ruin that and then go home.
That's the best way to do it.
Best way to do it.
What if I were the president? That's actually kind of creepy.
But I want to see how it attaches.
Well, that's good because
Hey, I'm Kenny. So what we're showing today is Maker.JS. Maker.JS is a really great app to be able to design two-dimensional and three-dimensional objects using JavaScript. So if you take a look over here, this is the Maker.js app. These are some of the demos that we've put together to be able to kind of see what's possible with this application. So for example, if I was wanting to build a wheel, you can kind of take a look at this. It's got some spokes on here that you can modify. So if I want to shrink down the outer radius a little bit, bring up the inner radius, increase the spoke count by a touch, you'd be able to make those changes. And because it's all done in JavaScript, if you make a change, you don't have to then cascade down yourself. The code just runs on it and it regenerates your SVG. It regenerates everything that you'd need to be able to re-export this out and be able to recut something with a laser or CNC mill, or export it out and then 3D print it. You have the ability to export to DXF, SVG, JSON, OpenJS CAD, or STL. So you'd be able to work with it with whatever application is appropriate for your needs. So for example, what I had done earlier was I took this is actually a three-dimensional enabled, you'll notice it says this model is 3D enabled. It's a model that you can use to be able to build out a custom box. And what we did was we essentially took this as a lid and a box. You've got a Z depth, so you can say how deep you want your box to be. You can modify the number of sides, so you can say I want this to be a 7-sided box or a 3-sided triangular box. You can increase the radius, make it a little bit bigger, change the size of the hole, so if you've got different screws that you need to fit into it. You then export this to an STL, make any changes that you need to inside of your 3D editing software, and then print this out. So this is a box that I actually created using that tool. So I've got my lid right here, and it's got the screw holes that line up perfectly here, and then you can screw that down tight so I can make a box. So the next steps that we're talking about doing are actually building out a different library of resources, library of models. If I go over to demos here, you can see a number of different models published on NPM. So you can actually include these essentially as include files. You can make them into dependencies for the model that you're working with. And we have things like these screw holes so that you'd be able to create something to mount onto your device. So we're going to be looking at building a library of things like the mount holes for your Arduino or the mount holes for whatever device you might be working with. So you can simply include that as a dependency into your model and place wherever you want to actually mount your Arduino and be able to build a perfect enclosure for your IoT project.
Hey, I'm Win, and you're watching Frank's World from Build 2016.